Today I'm going to attempt to survive 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore on a deserted island. The rules! I must not leave the island, only for the exception of getting to the end. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, maybe just one rule. So this is 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore on a deserted island. So, well, welcome to my deserted island. Look at this, it's lovely. And yeah, look at the shaders. Oh, I love these shaders, it's so cool. I mean, my PC isn't really liking it, but it can handle it. It's just not happy about it. What the?
Hi, how are you?
Someone's trying to push me off! Who the hell are you? Go away! Oh my god. Well, I'm glad there's some cows on here. So straight away I headed to the only tree that was on the island and mined that for all of its resources. And hopefully got some saplings, which I managed to, and I got several, which was quite lucky. I then made myself a wooden pickaxe and began planting the saplings I got out of the tree, and I got quite a few, which allowed me to start a reasonably sized forest, and the trees grew almost immediately so I could get some more wood. I then decided to build myself a temporary little hut underground, and this would be for me to get some cobblestone straight away. So I mined a bunch of cobblestone and mined myself out a lovely little hole that I could stay in for now. I had no torches or coal, so I had to make some natural light, so I made a little skylight, which would give me a bit of light because I couldn't see anything. Broke the pickaxe, mined almost a stack of cobblestone, came out, and the sun had set already on day one. And then made myself a cobblestone pickaxe, no, stone pickaxe, sorry, and the sun had set, and yeah, even looks beautiful at night, doesn't it? So of course I didn't have a bed, so I headed back down into my little, I don't know, cellar, basement, whatever you want to call it, and dug out a bunch more cobblestone, as much as I could really, because, you know, I had to kill some time, and I managed to find some coal, which was brilliant, and I used the rest of my pickaxe to get all this, and then it died, so I had to make a crafting table and made some more torches. Sorry, I made some torches for the first time. I went back down with a new pickaxe and got the rest of the coal. I then dug out all this dirt. Now, this is quite tedious, but I managed to find some iron, and there's a good reason why I want all this dirt, and that's to expand the island, so I can build some more crops and just build things in general, because there wasn't enough space on this island, you know. I want to expand it a bit more. So I built some shears, because I believe there is one sheep on this island, and there was. I couldn't shear him though, because he was in the bushes, annoyingly. So I managed to shear him. I got 3 bits of wool straight away, which is perfect to build a bed, because I ain't having no phantoms coming after me. No thank you. So then I decided to get rid of all these bushes and try and get myself some seeds. And I got plenty of those. And then I began to expand the island already, so I could build a flat farmland, because I didn't want to build my farm on a hill, and you know, I needed a decent amount of room to have a significant sized farm. I then built myself a hoe and hoed, is that even a word? Some brick, so I could plant a bunch of seeds, and began my farm. I didn't really want to make wheat for food, I needed it for the cows. I then mined a bunch of trees to get some more wood and expand the tree farm. Also got myself a few more seeds so I could expand that, and it started raining. There was a beautiful sunset, now I've missed it. Went to bed, woke up on day 3, and for now I was going to just eat some of this kelp to keep me going. Shorn the sheep again, headed back down into the mine, dug out a bunch more cobblestone, as I was going to need a lot of this stuff. And then I dug down and came across the ocean. Yes, very deep. And then dug down until I got bored and decided to head back up and get some more wood again and expand my tree farm. And then the sun set again.
Wow.
Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Planted a few more trees. Mined a few more trees as well. The house I had in mind needed a lot of logs. And then went back into the mine and decided to dig another way to see if I could find an actual cave or mine shaft or something of the kind. Found some more iron, which was always useful. And this is mainly what I'm searching for, iron and coal. I'm not really after a cave yet, because I need to build myself some armour before I can even fight some mobs. Otherwise, you know, I'm going to die. First things first, I built myself an iron sword and built myself an iron helmet to begin things off with. But I should have built an iron shield really. So I continued digging down until I come across this little shaft. So I made my way down and came across this little cave of deep slate. And I decided to leave that for later. I went back up to the surface, and by that time the sun had set. I went to bed, woke up the next morning and a few of my crops had grown, so I decided to do a bit of farming. And for the first time I actually mated the cows, and then headed back down into the mine shaft. So I continued just digging straight down till I would find myself another cave, but I gave up and decided to just dig in a straight line through the cobblestone to try and find myself some more resources, mainly of course iron and coal. But I didn't really have much luck and the pickaxe broke, so I went above the ground and placed a few torches to stop mobs from spawning in, sheared the sheep, and went back to my farm because that had grown a bit more, and did a bit more farming, expanding that a little bit further. It's coming on lovely, look at that. And the trees are all grown, so I decided to get rid of a load of those as the sun set on another day. Then started raining again, but I placed some more torches around. Now I can see where the dark areas were on the island. I would have no mobs spawning on me. Went to bed and planted a few more trees about. I had plenty of saplings now. Went back into the mine and started mining, see if I can find some more iron. I was coming across this copper though, and then I found a bit of iron, yay! After a long time. I then decided to head down into that cave that I found earlier. This wouldn't be a very good idea though, because straight away I was absolutely bombarded by arrows from this skeleton. And he nearly destroyed me because they did 3 hearts of damage. One more hit and I would have died. And then this zombie came out for more and got him into a ditch and managed to kill him easy enough. I then continued into the mine trying to find some iron and just fighting off the mobs as they came along. But of course I didn't have much armour, so I had to be careful. But I was finding plenty of iron, enough for a whole iron set now. But I needed to smelt the stuff of course, so I headed back up. And the day had set again, so I decided to put my iron into the furnace and go to sleep and then start mating the cows again. Some more crops had grown, so I did a bit more farming, expanding that a little bit further. I then made myself a full iron suit. I am Iron Man.
Stop it. Get some help.
And then I headed down into the mine again, and I wanted to go a bit deeper into that cave I found. Now I had a full clad of iron armour. So I headed down into there, made my way through. I was hoping to find some diamonds now, but I wasn't having much luck even finding any resources. Found a bit more iron though. Then I was attacked again by a skeleton. I waited for him to come to me, and when he did, I absolutely destroyed him. Went into this bigger cave and 2 creepers ganged up on me, but luckily I dispatched them quite easily. Another skeleton attacked me. This is quite a deep and dark cave, but I found some resources that would make it worthwhile. But the mobs kept coming out of the shadows, so I decided to head back up. And by the time I did, the day had set again. Fed the cows, went to bed, made myself an iron pickaxe and an iron shield. And then I got rid of a bunch of trees again because they had all grown. Also did a bit more farming, slowly expanding that. And then planted a bunch of trees around the island again and fed the cows, mated those. And decided I was actually going to start building my house. Well, the foundations for it, that was. And the idea for this house would be a Tudor house. Now, if you don't know Tudor architecture, it's lovely architecture from England, of course. And I love Tudor architecture. It's one of my favourite styles of architecture. So essentially it's going to be built out of log frame. So there will be a frame around the house, and then in between would be white wool. I was thinking about making the roof out of thatch, or my most suitable thing would be hay barrels, but of course that would take a very long time with the wheat I had. I also expanded the farm a bit more. I found out I had some sugarcane on here, which had fully grown, so I decided to expand that and future-proof myself, so I wouldn't have to do this in the future, and I'd have all the sugarcane I needed when it came to building the enchantment room. I then continued on the foundation of the house, and as you can see, it's going to take a lot of logs and a lot of wool, and I only have 1 sheep. I can't expand my wool production, really. The girls were helping out with building the house a bit, by coming in and out and being annoying, but I continued building it, and yeah, getting a bit low on logs, so soon I'd have to mine a bit more of that wood, but I had plenty of trees growing around me now, so there was no problem with that. And as you can see, I built a first floor, and look how much logs it's used already. But trust me, when it's done, you're going to absolutely love it. And then did a bit more farming, and then I had to get some more logs as I was getting very low. My axe broke, annoyingly. I then planted some more saplings, as I was going to need a lot of them. And then got rid of a bunch more trees, and the sun had set again. But I planted a few more around, went to bed, did a bit more farming, fed the cows. My cows the herd was really expanding now. I then began to dig out the bottom of my house, as this would be filled in with cobblestone. I also needed the dirt as well to expand the land later on. Then filled in my floor. I had about 22 bits of wool, so I decided to start placing those in. And it looks pretty good actually, it looks pretty realistic to the actual Tudor house. Then I had to get rid of the bark on the logs to make it look a bit more realistic. Now the trouble is, in real life, this would be painted in a black tar. But of course I can't do that, and obviously in Minecraft you just get a dark oak to do that, to have the same effect, but of course I'm only working with oak at the moment. I had to get a bit more food for myself, so I decided to get a bit more kelp, as at the moment I didn't want to kill any cows, and of course I couldn't use any wheat to be able to make bread, because I needed that for the cows. I then filled in much more of the bottom floor, and built a little stairway up to the second floor of the house, and then decided to start expanding to the second floor, building that with the logs I had. And this would take up just as many logs as last time, and I ran out doing that, so I'd have to get some more logs tomorrow. And that's what I did. The next day I woke up, mined a bunch of trees again. I had a couple of bits of wool, so you know it's going to be a slow process building the white parts of the house. I then did a bit more farming, and the farm is really coming on now. Finally the sheep had grown its wool back. I got 3, yay, lucky. So the bottom floor was practically done, filled in with wool. And I continued doing the second floor, filling in the beams inside. And then I started doing the floor. And I would use half, what do you call them? I don't even know. The half bits of wood. So you can actually see the beams on the bottom floor, which should look pretty cool once it's done. And then mated the cows again, growing the herd. The herd of the islands they're going to take over, I reckon. Yeah, look at that. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? I like that. So then I decided to get rid of a bunch of these trees, because my island was full up with trees now, and it looked a bit ridiculous. So there was plenty of trees to chop down, so I built myself an iron axe to do that. Got plenty more wood, and then continued building the second floor of the house, and then started building the frame for the roof. It's only going to be 2 stories, that's all I needed. And then dropped down and started building the beams of the second floor. Got some more wool. Continued at the farm, growing that. Slowly but surely, it's all coming together. Beautiful. And then the cows all came my way, and I fed those. Some point soon I'm going to have to make an own separate little area for them, because they're all over the place and quite annoying. I needed to have them somewhere away from me, so they wouldn't be so annoying and noisy, because it gets on your nerves after a while. Then I went round chopping down a bunch more trees, as I needed some more wood again. And then a bit of wool so I could start filling in the second floor. Ran out straight away. And then started building the beam for the roof. I then decided to start peeling all this bark off of the logs and making it look a lot nicer. But I probably should have done this as I placed them down, because some of these bits of logs were in hard to reach places. I then started work on the roof, and it was going to be made out of cobblestone stairs, not traditional Tudor style, but yeah, I was not going to start building a thatch roof on this thing. No thank you. And obviously you can't make stairs with wheat as well, so it wouldn't look very good. I continued into the night building my roof. I messed up somewhere, so I had to do a few altercations to make it look alright. Did that. Put the beam through the middle of this roof. And I just had to fill in a few more stairs. Went to bed, and the farm had grown quite a bit, so I decided to do a bit of farming. I then continued building my farm all the way to the very edge of the land now. and then fed the cows and spread those around a bit more. Not that I had enough, but I needed a lot of leather later on in the game, of course, to build some more books. I then filled in a bit more of the house as I had some wool. Still had a lot of wool to go though. I then started building some more land out of the island, and this was going to be a separate bit of land, not to do with the farm, as I needed a bunch of land for these cows because there was too many of them at this point just running around the island. It was annoying, and they're also noisy, so I had to build somewhere to get them away from me before I drove myself insane and did something I would regret. So I had to find a bit more dirt, so I went back into the mine and found a bit more of that, because that's the only way I was going to find some. And then continued building this new bit of land out. There's the beautiful sunset on another day. Luckily I had just enough dirt to do that. I then went back into the mine and dug a bit more coal while getting a bit more dirt. I then continued expanding Cow Peninsula, and then had to build a bunch of fences, and I thought this would be enough to keep the cows in. Just build one fence, because of course they don't want to go swimming. This would be a decision that I would regret later on in the game. I was like, yeah, that would be enough. Yeah, they're not going to get around that, I thought. I then had to gather all of the cows, which there's quite a few at this point. I then got them into their new pen on Cow Peninsula. But they were being a bit stubborn, some of them. So this took me quite a long time and almost made me regret not building this sooner. I then fed loads of them. I went back to the wheat farm, did a bit of that. I then got rid of all of this sugar cane as it had fully grown again, and decided to expand it a bit more. I didn't know how much paper I was going to need, so just better be safe than sorry. Then got some more wool. I needed to get some sand prepared for the glass in the house, so I dug out a bunch of sand just out of this part of the land and made sure I didn't get any water in, because I didn't want any water in this. I'd cover it up once I'm done. And then had a bit more wool, so I filled in a bit more of the house while the glass was cooking. The glass was cooked, so I made some glass, and then I started filling in all the windows in the house, and there was quite a few. And then I had to place some torches in the house because it was pretty dark and I didn't want any mobs spawning in, especially creepers blowing up my lovely little house. That was coming on nice. And then went back to the cow farm, fed them, and I seen that cows were escaping annoyingly, so I decided to build out the fence a bit further into the ocean, and hopefully that would stop them. And then to get some more wood, so I decided to dig a bunch of trees out again. And then got some more wool and fed the cows again. Hundreds of them now I have. It's a bit ridiculous, to be honest. Then made myself 8 chests, as it was time to start on the chest room, and I thought this was going to be in the attic. I thought, oh, that'll look nice, but I wasn't happy with it. No, I hated it. So I promptly got rid of the chests and decided that I would build myself a little cellar. So that's when I started digging out another stairway underneath the stairway up to the second floor, and this would be where my chest room would be. So I started building that, which was good because I needed more dirt, so I had to dig out all this dirt as well. So there's a bunch of dirt I had to get rid of, which I then used to expand another piece of land out near the Cow Peninsula, but this is going to be the Tree Peninsula, because I was going to use this as my tree farm, because I had enough of all the trees growing around the house and clogging everything up. So I wanted a good bit of land where I could grow a bunch of trees on. I didn't have enough dirt, of course, so I went back to the cellar, started digging out a bunch more dirt. I was trying to follow the frame of the house, but I kept overshooting it a bit. But I got rid of all the dirt that I needed to in there, got rid of the cobblestone, went back to the Tree Peninsula and started filling in that a bit more. This was quite a big peninsula, so I didn't think there was going to be enough dirt, but no worries, I can continue later to get more dirt. But that'll be enough for now. Got a bit more wool, filled in the house a bit more, almost done now, and then went back down to the cellar. I had to build a bunch of I had to build the foundations down to here as well, so I needed a bunch more logs, but luckily I did have enough for now. At this point the wheat farm was pretty overgrown, so I had to go and sort that out and then feed the cows again. I had an expanse of wheat now, so I could probably make my own bread at this point. And the cows were still escaping and getting round and onto the regular island. Why can't they just be happy on the canal, I called it a canal again, Cow Peninsula. I went down into the cellar and continued on that, building the frame out, and then ran out of logs, so I had to go and mine a bunch more trees. But I was running out of trees at this point, not enough, so I had to go and plant some around, and then mined a few more trees, went back down into the cellar and continued work on the frame, and then filled in the walls with cobblestone, as I was not going to be filling in them with wool. No thank you, that would take me forever. And then I had to dig out the floor again to make it deeper, as I needed to be quite tall down here, and then filled in the floor with wood. But I wanted some windows here to let in some natural light, and I thought this looked pretty cool from the outside, so that's what I did. And then finished up on the basement, and that looked pretty cool. And then placed my chests down. This would be a nice little chest room. I didn't need too many chests. I mean, in the last video I made way too many, and this was still too much really, just for 100 days. And then filled in a bit more of the house with some wool. I decided to build myself a little bit of a conservatory or a porch. Not really much of one, but it would make the house look a little bit better. The cows are still escaping at this point, which was annoying. But the ones that did escape I decided to kill, and that would be the way of me getting some food. Just gradually killing a few that would escape here and there. And then I expanded the chest room. I didn't need to, but I didn't like the empty room. The cows are still escaping, so I decided to expand the fence even further. At this point I might as well just made a fence all the way around. I don't know why I didn't. The sheep went to me inside the house, and I'd finally been able to finish it and filled in all the windows. But I still need some more wool, because there was a bit at the top of the house I forgot to do in the attic. But the house at this point was practically done. Filled in the last bit of wool, and that was it. Built myself some doors. I only needed 3 doors, so that's perfect. And some plates, so they would open. All the trees I mined, I then picked up all their saplings and placed them down again. And then moved my little temporary bed place to my bedroom. Placed a couple of nice chests down. Went to the ground floor and made myself a little furnace area, which would be my cooking area. And then decided to dig out here because I forgot to do this. I needed a fireplace. I can't have a lovely Tudor cottage like this without a fireplace, can I? Cooked myself a bunch of stone so I can make some stone bricks, and then began work on my chimney, and then fell down like Santa Claus. And at last I finished the chimney, and then decided to cook some logs so I can make my charcoal to build the fires, of course. I then went to the second floor, and I had to clear out that as well so I can place a fire up there as well. Placed my fireplaces down, placed them on the second floor. And I needed 2 at the top as well to make it look a bit more realistic with the smoke coming out. Look at that, lovely. Also missed a bit of the roof, so I decided to do that as well. I then placed a few fences inside the house around the stairs, and I had to get a bunch more trees. I wanted to clear this bit of dirt out here because it was in the way of the light coming in to the cellar of the house. So I wanted some windows down here as well to just let in some natural light and give a bit more definition to the room. Placed some thick glass blocks in there, cleared out this bit of dirt in the way of the windows, and then decided to place a wall, but I didn't really like it. It was too much wool. I think it needed logs next. It upset the symmetricality of the house. I then wanted to add a bit more vegetation to the house to make it look a bit older, like a lovely old vine was growing up it. Look at that with the lighting, that looks sick. I love it. So I needed to So I needed to build a mine shaft now. So I decided to start digging down in the middle of the cellar here, and this will be my mine shaft and way into the mine. I then gathered some poppies. And the reason for this was because I needed to make some red dye. So I wanted to make a lovely carpet on the floor in the house. This would take quite a while. And then added a bit to the stairs. I had to dig out a bunch more dirt here. And then dug out a little new window here as well. Also decided to get rid of a bunch more trees to get some more logs. My god, I'm going through some logs in this game. I then found out that I had a shepherd just chilling in with the cows. What the hell? I don't know how he got on here. I came on here for some peace and quiet. Then expanded the tree island or peninsula island. What am I on about? Because I had a bunch more dirt. But would I have enough? No, still not enough to fill it in fully. But I planted down a bunch more trees. And at this point my wheat farm had grown to its full capacity and I totally forgot about it. So I decided to get rid of all of that and place it all down again. So I had a bunch of wheat now. And so I went over to the cows and expanded those a bit more, you know, because I didn't have enough of the bloody things. I then continued mining down in my new shaft and just generally see where I got to. And then found a cave and some coal, which was good because I was getting low on coal, and continued going down. I found some dirt, so I decided to get that, and came across a little cave, and also some more coal, and some more iron. Got all of that, and then continued walking through the cave, found a bit more iron, found some more coal, found a bit more iron again, and then came across some mobs. Had to build myself an iron pickaxe, was attacked by a few more mobs. Found some gold, and I had a plan for this gold later on in the game, but also had to make some gold armor, of course, to go to the Nether. Attacked by a creeper. Continued exploring this cave and just collecting any resources I could find along the way. But I wasn't finding diamonds, but eventually I did. I actually found some diamonds. It took me long enough, but I could at last start making some diamond tools. I mean, I only had one, but you know, I was at deep state now, so the chances are I could find some more. But then I was almost killed by a creeper who snuck up on me. And then a bunch of zombies came after me as well. I had to make some torches at this point because I couldn't see anything. I headed deeper down into the mine and was attacked by a skeleton. I couldn't see anything down there, so I placed a bunch of torches. But my god, I'd never been attacked by so many zombies before. And that wasn't all of them, trust me. That wasn't that many. They weren't happy. I was finding a bunch of diamonds and they knew they weren't going to allow me to take all these diamonds.
What are those Neanderthals up to? Don't they know I'm busy spoiling myself?
But then a skeleton had to get involved, which really messed things up because he was chipping away at me as I was running away from all of these zombies. An apocalypse of zombies. I slowly took them out, carefully, but then I was attacked again by a skeleton who came out of nowhere and mixed things up a bit, but eventually killed them all and found myself some more diamonds. There's loads down here. It's brilliant. Got myself 21 diamonds already, not enough for a full set and some tools, but made my way back up, and again I was attacked by some zombies who really picked on me.
Why you bullying me?
But carefully I took him out, and then the boss came after me in his full cladded butter armour, but luckily he stood no match. Found some lapis, which I decided to get for later on in the game, as I was going to need a lot of that to enchant my armour. Then found some more coal, and I was attacked by a bunch of mobs. They were coming out the woodworks, they were not happy. They almost destroyed me. I got backed up into a corner, but thankfully I managed to take them out. And then continued exploring the cave, and found a bit more gold, found a bit more coal, and then found some more diamonds. Continued exploring until I found some more diamonds. Then I was attacked by a couple of zombies, found some more gold, and then made my way out of the mine at last with a bunch of diamonds, which I was quite happy with. And then cooked all of my ores and continued work on my farm. Because at this point it was pretty well grown, but I had to fill in this bit of land, and I gathered some carrots and gold. So you can see where I'm going with that. that would be my primary source of food, but I had to expand the 2 carrots I had into a bunch more carrots. I decided to cook some stone, gather some more wool, gather some more poppies to make some more dye, so I could start making some more carpet for my house. Don't know why it's so hard to make carpet. I mean, you can literally get about 10 slices of the stuff out of 1 bit of wool. I then get some bone meal so I could plant a bunch of, I don't know, grass, and hopefully get some poppies, which I did manage to do, to make some more dye. Filled in the bottom floor of my house and started work on the 2nd floor. And then planted down 3 carrots and began my carrot farm. And then placed a bit of stone brick around the bottom of my house and began work on building a little path. But of course, all this path had to be lined with brick as well. It's got to look nice. It's got to look nice and presentable for you guys. I had to make a little path down to my crops. Just a rough path to start with. And also made a little path that skirts around the side of the house. And then cooked some more stone. Made some item frames so I could label my chests with items. Easiest thing to do. And then continued work now the stone had cooked on my path. Lining it all with stone brick. Also placed down a bunch of stairs as well. And had a bit more wool, so I continued placing the wool on the 2nd floor of the house. And then built myself a little sofa out of wood. And realised that I couldn't place signs on the side of the sofa without ripping up the wool annoyingly. Which of course I had to do. Gathered a bit more wool, expanded it on top on the 2nd floor. And then continued building my path. Filling in with stone brick of course. Just making it look very nice. And then made some paintings. Placed one there. Couldn't decide which one I wanted by my bed. And I went for that one. I love that one. What a classic. And then continued work on putting some walls around my house. And it was looking very nice. I was very happy with it, you know. I'm quite happy with this little build. It's not like massive like the last video. But I still really enjoyed it. And then for some reason I somehow dug that out, placed a block in it and didn't even realise in the middle of the path. I then continued work on the other side of the house as I wanted the path that side down to the cows. I built myself a diamond pickaxe and then continued my little carrot farm and headed down into the mine. And I was just going to strip mine for some more resources, but mainly to see if I could find another cave, one I hadn't been in before. And I did, but it wasn't very big. I found some dirt, so I decided to get all that as well. Came across a cave, but I'd already been in it. I made myself a little walkway across to the other side. I then continued strip mining. Broke my pickaxe, and then decided to start digging down. I had enough of doing that. Strip mining. Found myself some more lapis. Came across some gravel. And then I gave up. I had enough. So I headed all the way back out. I decided to dig another way. That way I wasn't really yielding any results. Found some more gold. Plenty of it. Then my pickaxe broke again. So I built another one. I wasn't going to waste my diamond pickaxe on anything like that. I found some more gold while digging it. Found some diamonds. Then decided to head down deeper into the cave. And this is the cave I already went in with loads of diamonds. But I needed to get some obsidian, of course, because we wanted to head down to the Nether soon. So I mined a bunch of obsidian, as much as I needed, 14 blocks, enough to build the enchantment table as well. Then I headed back out and back up to the house. I started to put a bunch of my stone into the chest because I was completely full up. Made some smooth stone and then made a blast furnace so I could quickly smelt my ores. And then continued building my path down to the cows, and also built another path around to join up to the other path that circles around the house. And then built a path down here and filled in this little ugly bit of land where I dug out all the sand. Got some more wool as I would need that later on, and I still needed to build a carpet. Also had to get some more wood, so I mined a bunch of trees out, as they had all pretty much grown on the island now and it was a mess. Continued work on building the path, filling that in with stone brick. Also made some trapdoors for the house, and these would act as shutters for the windows to make it a little more defined and realistic. Put those all around the house. The land had cleared now because of course I wanted to do something with it, and it wasn't going to be known as the Tree Peninsula anymore. It was going to be known as the Abbey Peninsula. I wanted to build an ancient abbey, and for the reason for this being is I wanted to put my nether portal on it. So I wanted to make an ancient ruined abbey, a bit like the reign of King Henry VIII, where he destroyed all the abbeys in England. And I do love abbeys, so I wanted to make one, and I never really have, so it's probably not going to go very well. So I just decided to make this out of cobblestone, as I wanted to make it look a bit ancient. Nothing fancy really. Also used some cobblestone walls to make it look a bit more defined, but I didn't want to build it too much, and honestly I think I struggle more building destroyed buildings than I do fully symmetrical and nice buildings, because it's pretty hard to design a destroyed building that is symmetrical. It's better off just building the whole thing and then destroying it yourself with a bit of TNT to make it look a bit more realistic. And then made it up to the wall, and then made it up to the roof. So I started building some roof, and it was coming on pretty good, but I wanted to build a tower. So that's what I did. I started work on building a tower. No idea how this was going to come out, but the tower wasn't going to be complete. It was actually going to be a bit destroyed as well. I built that into the night, and because obviously it's going to be a pain getting back up here. So I built the spire and just made it look like it was split in half. That looked pretty cool. Next day I continued work on it and just made it look a bit more destroyed, so I mined a bit more brick. Continued work on the roof. This side was going to be a bit more intact on the other side. Built the spine of the building as I wanted that intact, so I could build a little bit of the other side of the roof. And that looked pretty sick. I was happy with that. I also built a little bit down here, like supposed to be a bit of the spire that had fallen off, or the tower. Built a pillar in the middle with a few little bits of debris around, and looked pretty good. I was happy with that. You know, it ain't brilliant, but I was happy with it. And then a trainer tried to come in my house, and I wasn't happy with that, so I chucked him out. And then this guy stuck his little face in. That wouldn't be the last we'd seen of him.
Hello, cutie pie.
Headed back down to the abbey and decided to place the nether portal. It wouldn't be symmetrical in the middle, which really did annoy me, so I decided to place some more cobblestone around it to try and make it look a bit more, I don't know, as it was in a part of the actual structure. I made a little path down to the nether portal and started building a path that would join up to the one outside my house. And then got a bunch of leaves because I wanted to make a bunch of ivy all over the tower and the abbey itself, to make it look like it's been there a while and ancient, you know, which I think it did a pretty good effect at. But someone was trying to hit me with a spit. I told you this wouldn't be the last we've seen of him, and when I was getting the carrots and mining those, he rudely spat on me. I want having none of that. None of that rudeness on my island. I quickly and swiftly shut that down, and then expanded my carrot farm more than I really needed to. I didn't get to do work on the abbey, but I had to get some more leaves, of course, and I wanted to build a bunch of leaves around the portal to make it look really cool. And look at that, it's done. But I needed to get on with the path now. I needed to complete that. So I decided to make another little path around to the path that goes in front of the cows. Just another little pathway. And also lined some of that with brick. And then I decided to make myself some golden boots to be prepared to go to the Nether. And then also thought it was time to retire the iron armour and build myself a set of diamond armour to go to the Nether. Not a full set, of course, because I needed the golden boots. 7 golden carrots prepared for the Nether, just in case. I also mined a bunch of sugarcane so I could keep that for later on. And headed on into the Nether. And here we are. Straight away I began by armouring up my Nether portal, making sure that was nice and armoured. just in case a ghast decided to shoot it. I then fought Pumbaa with the other pigs in there, which we destroyed, and they gathered the meat annoyingly. I then got a bunch of quartz. I then began trying to find my way to the fortress, which would take longer than I actually thought. But along the way I would just gather a bunch of quartz, as much as I could really, as I needed the XP later on in the game. And it was a brilliant source of XP. I then found myself a ruined nether portal, so I decided to head down to that, just digging up any quartz as I could along the way. It was quite dangerous to get down there though, so I had to slowly make my way down. But I just wanted to see what was in the chest, you know, because it might be something good, but it could be bad. So I made my way over there carefully. It's right in the middle of a serious lake of lava. But nothing was good in the chest really, apart from the clock. It was kind of useful, but yeah, everything else was rubbish. So I decided to get this gold, because there's a couple of gold blocks in here. I then made my way along the lava, building a path through it, which was quite dangerous in retrospect, because if a ghast came along I would have been absolutely screwed. And then decided to strip mine through this piece of land and try and find myself a fortress, and I did. When I popped my head up, there we go, I found one. Brilliant. As I made my way over, I decided to mine as much quartz as I possibly could to get some more XP. And the reason I was here at the Nether Fortress is because I needed to get some blaze rods, of course. And I found some chests, which all had rubbish loot. I didn't really need saddles or horse armour, as I had no way of getting a horse, and no point of having a horse really. What am I going to do? Ride around the island? And then fought some mobs within the fortress itself, and then came across a blaze and got a blaze rod straight away, which is good. I then came across a golden armoured cladded skeleton who gave me a bit of trouble, but he wasn't the worst. Me and his baby zombie pigman were running away from this wither skeleton. Thankfully I managed to take him out without him touching me. I then came across a couple more, but I height restricted the path so they couldn't get to me, those lanky danky doodles. I then found myself a blaze spawner, which would prove to be quite troublesome and almost be the end of my run. Yes, I decided to build myself a little protective hut to go and recover in after I took some serious damage. So I started to take out these blazes, but a wither skeleton spawned in and he really did some damage to me. He almost killed me. I had to be really careful and time my shots, but I decided to get out there before more blazes spawned in and really ruined things for me. I tried to stop him coming, but he managed to get through. I ran down here and height restricted the path, thank God for that. And I recovered and then took him out. And then made my way back to the blaze spawner. A bunch spawned in on me, which proved to be a bit overwhelming, so I decided to get out of there and recover in the recovery cave. And then went back out, attacked a bunch more of them, and then loads spawned in. I got overwhelmed watching my health bar go down, and I quickly ran back to the recovery cave and recovered. After that I managed to get 8 blaze rods and decided to get out of there and try and find myself a bastion. And I did. I finally came across a bastion. And I didn't have a bow, so I had to be very careful because these brutes are extremely strong and they do 4 hearts of damage with their golden axes. So I had to take them out at a distance and very carefully. This is going to be a quite delicate procedure, looting this place. I managed to find their chest straight away, which is brilliant, but carefully took out the brutes as I made my way through. There was more loot to find though within here, and I really wanted to find a stash of gold so I could make some gold carrots again. Came across some more piglins, which I took out. I also found a crossbow, which I was able to use because I had a bunch of arrows now. I hate crossbows though, I can't stand them. I then heard more snorts than I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Thankfully, they didn't come running down at me and jumping out the woodwork and rip me to smithereens. I had no idea where they were, but I was happy with that, as long as they left me alone. I then found their stash of gold, which I mined. When I left the bastion, I finally came across a weeping forest, and of course I needed this to get myself the other half of the Eye of Enders, which would be the Ender Pearls. And I needed 16, of course, because that's a stack. And then built myself a little shelter and started just staring Enderman in the eyes. Rule number 1 in the book of things not to do to Enderman. But that's the only way and the quickest way to get them, unfortunately. And this still would take a very long time because the drop rate of Ender pearls is not very high. So I was in here for ages. Had to be at least 2 days. And finally left the Nether and had 16 Ender pearls. And headed up to bed. And then cooked a bunch of pork and killed the cows that were loose around the house, as they were annoying the hell out of me. They shouldn't have got loose in the first place, serves them right. And then got rid of all of my wheat for one last time. Didn't really do it again because I had enough food now, but I decided to feed the cows and just expand the cows one last time. I then built my 16 Eyes of Ender, ready to go to the end. I still had another big project in mind, and got a bit more dye to make some more wool. I still needed to finish the wall in my house. My painting got in the way, so I had to relocate that. I then decided to put carpet in the basement as well, which probably was a mistake, because I needed this wall for another big project I had in mind. I then headed back down into the mine, because I needed to get some more lava, because I needed a few buckets of lava because I had no coal, and this would be my main source of fuel for my furnaces. I then cooked a bunch of stone in the furnaces, filled in this bit of land here that I missed, chopped down a few trees in this area in preparation for my next project, which would go here. Shorn the sheep again because I would need a bunch more wool, trust me. I didn't do this enough. I then decided to level out this land. I needed to bring it up to the same level as the house. So I had to use a bunch of dirt to fill in this area here. Place some torches below so mobs didn't spawn. I can't stand it when mobs spawn below and you have no idea where they are because there's hollow areas of land that have no light in them. And then built the base of the structure I was going to build. You can probably see what I'm going to build here, and this is going to be my enchantment room. There's no relevance to the actual building itself, but I filled in the foundation of that with stone and built a nice little path up to it. Also did a bit of farming again, got a bunch of carrots, planted a bunch more. Made myself a bunch of golden carrots. This would be literally my main food source. And decided to head back into the Nether. This time I needed to get some resources. And the main resource would be bone, of all things. So I headed into the area where you find bone. I have no idea what the biome's called, I can't remember. So I needed to get a bunch of these massive ancient bones, because I needed them as white blocks. Now, you may be saying, why don't you just use wool? I mean, it takes ages to get any wool from that sheep. And I was attacked by a few skeletons, which is annoying. And I can't stand this biome, because the soul stand makes you move so slow. Got a bit more quartz and headed out of the Nether. Then I got back and it turns out a zombie pigman was walking around my house. Rude. Then found a nice little plot of area where I could plant a bunch of flowers and try and get myself some more poppies, which I did. And then started building the base of the next structure which I was going to build here. A little surprised, but you will soon see what it is. When I place the next layer, which is red of course, white and red, on an island in the sea, yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to guess what I'm building here, does it? This would take a lot of wool and a lot of dye. So this sheep is going to be abused a bit longer. Wish I had 2 sheep instead of 2 cows. But to be fair, how would I get leather to make the books? So that's what I did. I made a bunch of bookshelves so I could start enchanting things. The structure wasn't finished, the lighthouse, but I wanted to at least start work on the enchantment room in the library. Got myself some more sugarcane so I could build some more bookshelves as I need more paper. Built myself an enchantment table. Had a look if I could get myself level 30 enchantments, which I couldn't. I could only get 28, which I needed some more bookshelves. Then continued on the next layer of the lighthouse, but ran out of wool again, of course. Built some ladders up so I could keep climbing to continue building it, as it was going to take a while. And then killed a bunch of cows. I decided enough was enough. I had enough of them, so I took a bunch of them out. Had some more leather at this point. And I could get level 30 enchantments, so I enchanted my sword with sharpness 3 and looting 2. And then built a little bit of a roof to the enchantment room. Built a bow, got power 4 on it. Built another bow, got power 4 and flame on it. But I needed infinity. So I enchanted that. And got a really good bow. And began to get myself some more poppies so I could make some more red dye. Getting rid of the bushes, planting more down until I could get more poppies. Bit of an annoying process. But at least I didn't have to use my white wool, and this is why I got the bones. I needed to head back into the Nether though to get some more XP, as I was below 30 of course. So I just went around in the Nether just searching for ages and ages for quartz, and I found some. And then I found a big patch of it and just mined every single bit of quartz I could possibly find, just to keep the level going. And I got up to level 40 in the end, which is brilliant. So I now had at least a few enchantments. Enchanted my pickaxe, enchanted another bow, and got power 3 on it. And eventually I did manage to get infinity on a bow at last. I then enchanted the bow again, which I had a really good bow now. Power 4, unbreaking 3, flame, infinity. Because I had no chickens of course, so I couldn't make arrows and I needed infinity. I then decided to reconstruct the lighthouse because it just wasn't going to work. It was going to take forever to make this lighthouse with gathering enough red wool. So I decided to, what I'd do was make 2 layers of white on the bone and then 1 strip of the red. So I reduce the number of red stripes that I'd need throughout the lighthouse. So there we go, and it looks a bit better actually, I think, like this. I then had to get myself some more red dye of course, so that meant planting a bunch more bone meal and just getting as much poppies as possible and making some red dye. And then continued work on the lighthouse. It wasn't going to be very tall with this lighthouse because it was going to take forever if not. I then decided to head back in the Nether again. It's my favourite place, the Nether, I love it. This time I needed to get some glowing blocks. And for this I would use these, I don't remember the name of them, but they grow in the mushrooms. As of course I needed something nice and bright, a nice bright block to be the light in the lighthouse. So I just went around gathering a bunch of that, as much as I could. Also I wanted to get some more quartz while I was in here, might as well. So I went around gathering a bunch of quartz as well. As I had a lot more enchanting to do, but I was at a very low level. I managed to get it up to 37 XP again. Quartz is such a good way of leveling up. I then had to enchant my armour, got protection 3, which wasn't too bad I suppose. And then finally made myself some iron boots. Diamond I mean. Continued enchanting my diamond armour. Got some half decent enchantments on it. And then killed a bunch of cows to see if I could get myself up to 30 XP, as I needed to enchant one more thing. But tragically, I couldn't quite get to 30 XP. Continued shearing the sheep to try and get myself some more wool. Got 8 more pieces so I could continue a little bit onto the lighthouse. Continued on that a little bit more. Headed back into the Nether so I could get myself a little bit of XP. All I needed to do was just mine 1 block of quartz and there we go. I could enchant my boots. Death Striding. I also decided to enchant my boots with Soul Speed 3, which I managed to find. As that was the last thing I needed to enchant, so it didn't really matter about my XP. And then I actually ran out of bone, annoyingly. But I managed to get 1 more block of wool and 1 more block of bone and finish the lighthouse. Well, not completely. The sheep got stuck on the ladder for some reason. which was lucky I didn't need him anymore. He was stuck there indefinitely for the rest of the time. Used and abused. What a sorry existence. Headed down to get more cobblestone, and then had a bunch of glass so I could start building the top of the lighthouse. I'd soon run out though, but I needed to build a walkway around the lighthouse as well. Gathered a bit more sand as I needed to make some more glass, of course, at the top of the lighthouse, and I found a patch of sand here that used to be the old shoreline of the island but isn't anymore, and then continued work building the walkway around the top of the lighthouse as the sun set. Absolutely beautiful. And then continued into the dark, as I might as well because I was up here. I then put the light in the lighthouse, went to bed and got a bit more glass. Decided to cap it there and build the roof to the lighthouse. I just used regular stone brick slabs to do this. The lighthouse turned out to be not symmetrical though, which really annoyed me. But at this point there's nothing I could do about that. So I just had to deal with it and build a little railing around the walkway of the lighthouse. And after that it was done. I mean, it looked good. It looked alright, you know. Of course, if I had more time, more resources, I could have made a better one, but that would do. And then decided to build the last main structure that I would build on this island, and that would be my boathouse. As I wanted a boathouse because I was going to leave the island on a boat. So I began building a little bit off here. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a pier to start with, and then it would go into a nice little boathouse which would house my little boat. And then went back into the cellar so I could dig a bit more cobblestone as I ran out of cobblestone again. And then I had to gather some more wood, as I needed a bunch of wood to be the supports for the pier. So of course I didn't want to have just a floating pier, I needed to make it look a bit more realistic. And I had a bunch of trees so I needed to get rid of to get some more logs. And then started work on the roof of the boathouse, but I soon ran out of bricks. So went to bed and headed out and started work on the roof of the house again. Ran out of bricks soon enough. So then I decided to start building the pillars of the pier. They weren't going to go right down to the bottom of the ocean because it was very, very deep. But, you know, deep enough to make it look half realistic. I mean, you can see that they just go down to regular wood. And I'm not too worried about that. I then continued work on the roof of the house as I had some more brick stairs. Underestimated how many I'd need, so went back down into the mine and gathered a bunch more cobblestone so I could cook to make more stone. And then decided to make the glass windows for the boathouse and start work on the little stairway into the boathouse itself, which was a bit of a tedious job to do, but got there in the end. And I made the little dock for the boathouse underneath. Made some support pillars for that as well. It was looking pretty cool so far, I was quite happy with it. And then continued work on the roof. Didn't quite have enough stairs again. Had to get some more trees, so I ran out of logs as well. At this point I was getting pretty low on trees, but I didn't want to plant any more. We're coming to the end of the game now. And then made some more supports to the boathouse. Now it's just time to finish off the roof, and hopefully I would have enough this time. As the sun sets, I continued work on the roof. Thankfully I did have enough, and then placed some torches around the dock to stop mobs spawning in. And at last the boathouse was finished. I quite liked it, it was lovely. Really nice. So gathered a bunch of carrots so I could make a load of golden carrots, as this was literally just going to be the only thing I'd eaten. I might as well. I had the resources to do so. Gathered 5 buckets of water for the end. Placed my boat in the sea. Took one last look at the house. Got in the boat and went on my merry way. It was time to find the end and leave the island for the first time. Sad, but it looked lovely from the sea. I was very happy with it. And then decided to ditch the boat because it's quite annoying to get out of it and try and get my Eyes of Ender. And I tried to find the Ender portal on foot, well, in the sea. And And then I came across land ho. Found some coal. Decided to sleep. I didn't want mobs disturbing me. Swam in the ocean until I found some more land. And decided to finally properly go on land. Land that wasn't the island. And then shot up this Eye of Ender, which went straight into the tree. Got stuck in the tree annoyingly. What a stupid idea that was. To this lovely mountain. I mean, it was beautiful. I think I might do survival up here. 100 days Minecraft Hardcore survival in the mountains. What do you think about that? This is just beautiful. But I think this might be where the Ender portal is, because it sent me up here and then it was turning me around this way. I think we might be on top of it. I'm then attacked by my worst enemy for the first time.
Whoa. Oh, no.
A baby zombie came after me. I couldn't believe it. He came after me with a shovel. He was prepared to kill me and bury me. But I put an end to him, thankfully. And then walked down the mountain and it was sending me back up. So I knew at this point, yes, we were here. The Ender portal had to be below us. I needed to do one more last test though. Walked up to the top of the mountain again, threw it, and it sent me off of it. So yes, that confirmed it. The Ender portal was right below us. So I decided to start just digging down. Break rule number 1 of Minecraft: dig straight down. It is what it is. I'm a rebel. I don't care. I made some torches so I could actually see what I was doing. If I land in lava, so be it. I've got a bucket on me. And then dug straight into it. But it wasn't good.
Wow.
Because the deep dark just so happened to be here as well. So I had to be very careful. I was not prepared to fight the warden whatsoever. I do want to actually fight him in one of these 100-day survivals, but he's extremely hard. And he's got 250 hearts of health. I couldn't find the Ender portal, so I dug through this wall and just so happened to find another pathway which didn't align. They didn't join, annoyingly. And then I searched a stretch of the stronghold, came across the library, came across the enchanting book, which was rubbish, and finally came across the end portal room. And would you believe it, 2 games in a row, not one single Eye of Ender. Luckily I have enough this time, but if you remember in my last game there was no Eyes of Ender in it as well. What are the odds? Terrible. Anyway, got attacked by a bunch of silverfish, nowhere near as bad as last time. Went to bed, set my spawn, and headed down into the end. Here we are. Let's fight and kill that Ender dragon. I made my way up, shot the first tower, attempted to shoot the second one. Took me quite a while to get it right. I've used a controller mod and the dead zone is terrible. And then made my way up to the top of the tower because I couldn't shoot it. These two. Tried to come up to this one, but got absolutely flicked by the Ender dragon. Luckily I didn't take as much damage as I thought I was going to do. And I continued climbing it. Decided to eat a golden carrot, but that was a mistake because I got hit off by the dragon's breath. Luckily the water broke my fall. Finally made it to the top of that tower and destroyed that one. Headed down, gathered my water, and shot this tower with my bow. I decided to climb the rest because my aim was so bad with the bow and arrow that it would make more sense just to climb the actual towers, take them all out. And from this tower I decided to shoot the rest of them. Don't know why I didn't do that to start with. This one took ages for me to actually get right. Finally got it, and I could actually start shooting the Ender dragon, which was quite a tedious process because my aim was so terrible and I didn't realise you could actually hit him when he came down. You see, I've been playing this game for a very long time. I never really completed it that often. I would only really just play it and get bored. And then I somehow looked at an Enderman which really screwed things up. And somehow I looked at 2 of them. I placed my water down, I was being surrounded by them, and then I was flicked by the Ender dragon, flew right up in the air. So I quickly ate a golden carrot which helped me recover, and decided to try and take out the Enderman with my shield. In fact, I did. I tell you what though, if the Ender Dragon didn't kill the other Enderman, I would have been screwed. I then slowly but surely took out the Ender Dragon, but I didn't. And I tried to attack him from behind, and I thought he'd flick me away, but he didn't. Then I realised I could easily just attack the Ender Dragon from behind. I had no idea this time. So then of course I gathered all the XP from the Ender Dragon, but I wouldn't be able to use it sadly, as usual. I then found the portal to the next area of the end, where the end city is going to be, because I wanted to go get the Elytra, of course. I towered up to that, used what little blocks I had. I had a few ender pearls, so I chucked one of those in so I could teleport, and then spawned on a little island, annoyingly. Usually I'm quite close to the ender cities, but this time I didn't think I would be. I only had a couple of ender pearls, so I decided to make my way over using blocks, which took a lot of blocks. I even had to use my wood, annoyingly. But eventually I did get over to the mainland. I searched for ages to try and find the Ender City. It was taking forever, and I decided to turn my shaders off in here because it was very annoying with the shaders on. I couldn't see anything, and eventually I did actually come across the Ender City, but it was very frustrating. I've never had to travel so far to find it. And eventually I made my way over there, and it was only a small one, but the flying ship was here, and then took out the shuckers, and then climbed up. Hopefully there'll be some loot in here, but there wasn't, annoyingly. So I took out the shuckers on the boat from a distance, as these things would kill me and I'd go flying up in the air, and that would be very embarrassing. I didn't have enough blocks though, so I had to mine some of this building just to get enough blocks to go over there, as I had no pearls left. And then made my way inside, killed the last shucker, and gathered the Elytra. And I put it on, just in case I did fall at some point. Also got some good loot in here, nothing I didn't have already. And then made my way to the tip of the ship, and got myself the head of the Ender Dragon. And then made my way off, and I decided to risk it. You know what, I'm going to jump. I'm going to actually test the Elytra and see if I can fly back. And I did. Jumped off and I flew, headed back to hopefully find another Ender City. And I did. It took me a little while, but I found another one because I wanted to get some more loot and have a bit more of a challenge. So I made my way inside this one, and there was a bunch more shuckers in here. They were annoying. They were actually doing some decent amount of damage because there were so many of them. It doesn't really matter if they let me fly, I don't really care. Found a decent sword, and also a couple of decent bits of armour. And then decided to risk it and jump off. And yeah, thankfully the Elytra worked. Sometimes I do screw it up with the Elytra, I pressed the wrong button. And then I had to make my way back and try and find my way out, which took me ages as well. And I had to be really careful crossing over here. One more wrong move and that would be it. My fate would be the same as this Enderman stood in my way. Mexican standoff. But yeah, sorry about that, mate, but yeah. We can probably fit through, but bye. See ya. And then headed back to the start of the end, but somehow I looked at some Endermen again, 2 Endermen. So I had a little bit of a fight on my hands, annoyingly. And they weren't giving up. I had to chuck one off the edge in the end. See ya. But I still had one after me, so I decided to just leg it and go for it, and jumped, and he didn't get to me in time. And then I spawned in the stronghold, of course, because I had my bed, and then made my way out. I just decided to dig up, make myself a stairway out, because I wanted to get back to the island, my home, for one last time, of course. So I needed to make it back to there. Continued building my little stairway up, which took a long time because I was underneath a mountain, of course. Found myself a cave and used that to try and get higher. Didn't really work, so I continued just building a stairway up and finally came across land, but it was dark and I didn't really want to have to deal with the mobs, especially in the jungle. The jungles are terrible for mobs. They come out of woodwork. So I went to bed, woke up the next day, and made my way to the top of the mountain. And you can probably guess why I'm going to do this. And eventually I made my way to the tippy top of the mountain because I had a grand idea. I was going to jump off. And fly the Elytra, but it failed. I pressed the wrong button. I almost died. So I decided, you know what, I'll go from here. And then eventually it worked. And I was flying through the air and it was brilliant. This is the quickest way possible to get back to my island. I roughly knew the direction I had to go in. So I just headed this way and flew through the hills. And oh, it was great. And it looks so beautiful with these shaders on, doesn't it? If you want these shaders, they're called sodium shaders. And then just headed out into the sea until I slowly lost altitude and had to swim. And it took me until the sunset to find home, and eventually I did. Made it back to the island. I even found my boat, which I got back in and took it back to the boathouse. Might as well. Moored up, went inside, went to bed, and put my dragon head above my bed. God, how many rhymes. And then got rid of the posts above my bed so I could see the dragon head a bit better. And then I headed back into the Nether for some reason. You see, no, I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't satisfied. I decided, a stupid idea, to try and fight the Wither Skeleton. Yes, the Wither Skeleton. So I went back in the Nether and tried to find the fortress again to see if I could kill the Wither Skeleton. I made my way across this soul stand because I had the soul stand enchantment on my boots. I was really fast now, which is cool. Had to gather a bit of soul stand, of course. Made my way to the fortress, and it was actually a different one than I found last time. I couldn't find the one I was at originally, but it did take me long enough. Came across it, made my way down inside, and I was being shot by blaze already. I don't know how they saw me from that distance. Took out the blazes inside. I was here for the Wither Skeletons, which luckily there was a few spawned in. I mean, I was very optimistic, thinking either my looting sword that I'd be able to get some heads straight away, because they don't drop their heads very often. It's very rare for these Wither Skeletons to drop their heads. But I just had to keep walking along and letting them spawn in. I mean, they just spawn in randomly anyway. Even when you're in sight of them, they spawn in. One of them jumped down on top of me, and I got poisoned. But I just kept going back and forth, letting them spawn in. And I managed to get one head at this point, but I needed two more, of course, of the Wither Skeleton. And I tell you what, it's been about 10 years since I fought the Wither Skeleton, so I had no idea what was in for me. And in retrospect, I wish I never did it. But anyway, I continued trying to collect the Wither Skeleton heads, and I got two at this point, and there was loads of them spawning in, thankfully, but their drop rate was so abysmally low that it took me ages to get the third one, and I eventually did. Then I began making my way out of the Nether again. Eventually I made it to the end, made it out, and began building the Wither Skeleton. Now, in retrospect, I wish I did this underground and listened to the tutorials. Make sure you build them underground, and last opportunity not to do it, and yeah, no, I did it! I did it above ground! But I wasn't, it doesn't really matter because I practically survived 100 days. But then I was poisoned by him, and I didn't realise you actually get poisoned by him, but it makes sense, of course, with the Wither Skeletons poison you. But this was the most annoying thing, and the fact is, I should have done this below ground, because every time I actually did some damage to him, he would just go in the sea and start killing everything. I decided to head down deeper into the house and recover in there. I really underestimated the Wither Skeleton. This was not the right environment to attack him in. As soon as I shot him, he just came straight over to me and bombarded me with bombs and poison. And the time I recovered, he had practically recovered by killing all the poor little fishes in the sea. I decided to go to sleep because I wasn't going to deal with mobs as well. Thankfully, he was waiting right outside my door for me. Doesn't help that I could only hit him with the bow because I couldn't reach him with my sword. Gave him a really good go at this point, neglecting my health bar. I even set myself alight at this point and quickly ran back down to my recovery cave. I then tried taking him out in the sea. Because I had my respiration helmet on, I could breathe underwater for ages. But it just wasn't working, nothing was working. I just had to keep going in the recovery cave. I built myself a little cobblestone hut here to try and shake him out with. Built a little recovery hole. I thought this might be a good idea. And started shooting at him again because he went back in the sea to recover his health. And started chipping away at him. He came right over the top of me. And I just had to keep shooting him. But every time I shot him, he just recovered. It was no good. I really didn't think... I underestimated him. I didn't think he would be this powerful. I mean, I was so lucky I didn't die. And on day 99, you know, because it took me so long. I was just repeating the process, just trying my best to take him out. And at this point, I didn't even know where he went. But I survived. I was happy because I had actually survived 100 days on a deserted island on hardcore. And at this point, I didn't really care if I died because I did it. But I couldn't even find him anyway. He'd run off. And I did actually spot him eventually, but it was no use. I couldn't defeat him even if I tried. Even if I gave it my all, he would kill me before I could kill him. And he destroyed my entire island. There he is out in the sea, terrorizing the poor wildlife. But my house was absolutely completely destroyed at this point. My beautiful creations, the Abbey, was even worse. Then I seen a shooting star. Beautiful shooting star. And I made a wish that I never, ever, ever built the Wither. At least my boathouse was actually intact. And there we go, guys. I did it. I survived 100 days on Minecraft Hardcore on a deserted island. And what fun that was. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I hope you guys did too. So please like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Okay. Without any further ado, hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye bye.